Editing is often referred to as the invisible art of filmmaking. It is the crucial process by which meaning is constructed, time is manipulated, rhythm is shaped, and emotional resonance is crafted. In this module, we engage deeply with the theory, technique, history, aesthetics, and politics of film editing, focusing on how montage and sequencing not only dictate what we see, but also how we understand, feel, and interpret cinema. More than a technical activity, editing is an ideological, psychological, and narrative device. Every cut, dissolve, or transition reconfigures space and time and determines the flow of the cinematic narrative. Editing controls pace, reveals or conceals information, creates suspense or relief, and even structures audience identification. This module explores the schools of editing theory from the Soviet Montage movement and Hollywood continuity editing to the avant-garde disruptions of French New Wave cinema and modern digital editing practices. Through theoretical frameworks, historical evolution, and practical case studies, students will analyze how editing shapes cinematic grammar, molds viewer perception, and reinforces or challenges dominant ideologies. Learning objectives. By the end of this module, you will be able to A. Define and differentiate between various editing techniques: continuity editing, discontinuity editing, montage, jump cuts, match cuts, etc. B. Understand and apply major editing theories including Soviet montage theory and Kuleshov effect. C. Analyze how editing influences narrative structure, time perception, spatial continuity, and audience emotion. D. Evaluate the ideological and political implications of editing strategies. E. Deconstruct how editing can manipulate memory, identity, and perspective within the cinematic experience. F. Critically assess editing as a visual language that communicates beyond dialogue and mise en scène. G. Trace the evolution of editing styles across cinematic movements and technological shifts. Key concepts and theories. 1. Basic editing principles. A. Cut, the most fundamental unit of editing. Transition from one shot to another. B. Continuity editing. Invisible editing. Seamless flow, preserving spatial and temporal logic, Hollywood style. C. Match on action, eyeline match, and 180-degree rule to maintain viewer orientation. D. Shot and reverse shot, often used in dialogue scenes to show interaction. Second, time and space manipulation. Elliptical editing, omission of parts of events for brevity or dramatic effect. B. Cross-cutting, parallel editing, simultaneous actions in different spaces. C. Flashbacks and flash-forwards, non-linear structuring of narrative time. D. Temporal expansion and compression, extending or shortening the perceived duration of events. Third montage theory. A. Developed by Soviet filmmakers Sergei Eisenstein, Lev Kuleshov, Dziga Vertov. B. Emphasis on juxtaposition of images to generate meaning, not found in individual shots but in their combination. C. Kuleshov effect. Viewers derive more meaning from two sequential shots than from a single shot in isolation. D. Intellectual montage, colliding images to provoke abstract ideas, e.g. Battleship Potemkin. 4. Discontinuity and avant-garde editing, A. Jump cuts, e.g. Jean-Luc Godard's Breathless. Violation of continuity to provoke viewer awareness and alienation. Fragmentation, rapid cuts, freeze frames to interrupt narrative immersion. C. Used for political or aesthetic disruption of traditional cinematic codes. 5. Editing and ideology. A. Editing as a tool of propaganda or resistance, manipulating viewer perception and sympathy. B. Hegemonic narrative control in mainstream cinema versus disruptive counter-cinema techniques. C. Who gets to speak, appear, and vanish through editing choices. D. Ethical implications of omission, selection, and sequencing in documentaries and journalism. 6. Postmodern and digital editing. A. Rise of nonlinear editing platforms, Avid, Premiere Pro, Final Cut. B. Hyper-editing and overcutting in music videos, trailers, and action films. C. Editing as remix culture, memes, fan edits, digital storytelling, and TikTok narratives. D. Artificial intelligence and machine learning in automated editing. 7. Rhythm, emotion, and tone. A. Pacing impacts viewer psychology, e.g. long takes equals to realism and tension, fast cuts equals to intensity and chaos. B. Editing as emotional choreography. C. Use of montage sequences in emotional climaxes, e.g., training scenes, funerals, revelations. D. Tone shifting through juxtaposition, e.g., comedy versus tragedy via editing rhythm. Case study examples, see diagram above. Recommended readings. A. David Bordwell, The Way Hollywood Tells It. B. Walter Murch, In the Blink of an Eye, circa Sergei Eisenstein, Film Form. D. Lev Kuleshov, The Principles of Montage. A. André Bazin, What is Cinema? Essay on the Long Take. F. Timothy Corrigan, A Short Guide to Writing About Film Assignments and Activities. A. Scene Deconstruction, select a scene with rapid editing and analyze how cuts affect rhythm, emotion, and point of view. B. Montage Creation Project, using found footage, create a short montage that generates new meaning through juxtaposition. C. Comparative editing essay, contrast continuity editing in a Hollywood film with discontinuity editing in a French New Wave or experimental film. D. Kuleshov effect exercise, create a short video using the Kuleshov principle and write a reflection on viewer interpretation. E. Ethical analysis. Task: evaluate a documentary or news report in terms of editing bias, manipulation, and selective storytelling.